तू कितना खूबसूरत है।
बाबूजी भी ना कुएं के मेंढक जैसी बातें करते हैं।
हाँ, मैं मेढक हूँ, लेकिन अपने कुएं से मैं परिचित हूँ, उसको जानने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ।
बाबूजी को समझने की बात कर रहे हो?
अंधों के शहर में आईना बेच रहा हूँ मैं।
कुछ नहीं समझे हो, ठेला नहीं समझे हो, बता रहा हूँ मैं।
ये समझे बाबूजी को, खुद की लुगाई भाग गई छोड़ के।
बउआ,
पता है लोग क्या कह रहे हैं तुमको? पागल कह रहे हैं सारे लोग।
माफ कीजिएगा, आप लोगों ने कुछ नहीं सीखा है।
Do we understand Bauji? The 2013 film Aankhon Dekhi is a unique film. It was unique when I saw it the first time, and it has been unique all the way up to when I saw it now, the 9th time maybe. It's a film that is simple in its aesthetic and setting, yet is complex and surreal in its approach. That no matter how many times I adore the dynamics of this dysfunctional family or resonate with the quirks of our characters, I often find myself trying to look for the true meaning of what is being said through the film.
कलाकंद था, बढ़िया था, स्वादिष्ट था, मीठा था।
So the story revolves around a middle-class family situated in one of these old localities of Delhi, and its patriarch Bauji, who following a small incident makes a pledge to only believe what he can see with his own eyes and nothing else. What I find interesting is that we know nothing about Bauji's or the other characters' past from before the start of the film. There are no expositions throughout the film about the relationship or what they were like as they reached this point. In essence, this style of writing mirrors the philosophical notion of tabula rasa, literally meaning blank slate, alluding to how all of us were born with a clean slate and all our knowledge comes from our nurture and experiences. It's a theme for Bauji as he wipes his mind off of everything in his life that he hasn't lived or experienced himself, giving himself a clean slate. We have no idea whether he was a soldier, an athlete, a painter before the events of the film, and like Bauji, we should not even care about things that are not in the now. We don't even know if he was a highly religious person because we only see his wife being shocked at him renouncing religion, alluding to the societal pressures of maintaining normalcy. His sudden outbreak only feels sudden, as unlike others who were actively emotional in the first scene, Bauji is not. Instead, he is quiet, fighting this notion if he should believe hearsay like others. Only after he confirms the truth with his own eyes does he have this enlightenment that is sort of philosophical and is explored throughout the course of the film. There are no doubts about the philosophies that Bauji dives into. On his quest to seek the truth of his own self, he abandons all knowledge that his experiences do not afford him. In doing so, he often claims to know nothing about generally obvious facts and common knowledge to constructs made for our convenience, like language and time, imbibing the ideology of Socrates, who is commonly quoted for the statement, "I know that I know nothing." But is Bauji a true philosopher? Philosophers are commonly identified by their desire to seek knowledge and gain wisdom about the world and the true meaning of life. In those regards, Bauji does seem to be inclined towards seeking his own truth, but his yearning for knowledge is limited to his quirks. He openly does state that he is a frog living inside a pond, but does he do anything to expand his world beyond his intimate pond?
जिंदगी तो कट गई, तुम लोग की उम्र है, तुम लोग करो।
Philosophers are also people that delve into difficult scenarios with profundity and clarity, and for the most parts, Bauji does not do that. He is too emotional to think some things through, as seen in his reaction to Rishi, his brother, opting to move out of the house. Instead of being understanding, Bauji feels betrayed owing to his belief of one family, one roof, which to be fair, is also a societal construct. But the biggest point, which is universal for any philosopher, is the leaning towards spreading of the wisdom gained. Socrates was associated with a term called a social catfly, or someone who interferes with the status quo of the society by posing novel questions and gains annoyance. This is where the idea of the set society comes into play. The supporting characters like the family members of Bauji or friends can be termed a microcosm of our own world. We got libertarians, to pacifists, to cynics, to blind fanatics. And they all react to Bauji, who does not fit into this world. His pledge at first is used to mock him, and the idea gradually gains a crowd as Bauji turns into a reluctant cult of personality. In real world terms, Bauji's case represents a WhatsApp or a social media group where a participant shares a piece of message only for the other members to deviate from the original idea to argue amongst themselves that leads to infighting, while the creator of the message quietly leaves the group. Not only do the people completely miss the point, consistent flurry of arguments create more rabid ideas. There are so many examples in this very world. The film tries to subtly show us the perils of someone like Bauji being in a society as sheepish as ours. He never says he wants to spread the words of his wisdom throughout the land, but when overwhelmed by the amount of listeners he passively gains, he slowly checks out, resolving to never speak at all at a later point in the film. There's a shot in the film that does a brilliant job at showing this, where all his followers are speaking amongst themselves, but the framing of the shot shows them speaking inside Bauji's head, who is just sitting there silent, rejected by the world he is creating. Literally, nobody is better off, not even Bauji. There's a dissonance within Bauji in terms of how he thinks and how he feels. Although he wants people around him to find their own truth with the help of their own experiences, his feelings would not allow even his brother to live his own experiences. There's a scene where he catches his nephew bunking school and believes him when the boy tells him he's there for schoolwork, which is absolute bullshit. But Bauji believes him on the basis of his feelings for the boy being hardworking and sincere.
संस्कारी लड़का है, होशियार है, मेहनती है। मैडम जी घूम घूम करके बॉटनी पढ़ता ही है।
This shows the basic flaw in Bauji's new worldview. Don't get me wrong, this is not a criticism for the writing or the characters. It's clearly intended for us to see for ourselves that hidden behind a virtuous thought could be subtle fallacies. The film doesn't shy away from calling out the double standards of Bauji but cleverly hides them behind quirky dialogues. For example, when his wife blasts him for never telling them he quit his job.
और जब घर से यहाँ ये सुबह सुबह ला हमें टिकट देते ला हमारा बैंक दे दो और जब ये दफ्तर जा रहे थे वो झूठ बोला नहीं था और दफ्तर में जरा झूठ बोलना पड़ा तो काम भी छोड़कर बैठ गए।
It is here where I started to understand what the film actually is about. It is not telling us the overt message that we should give heed to lived experiences instead of hearsay, but how difficult it is for anybody to live out a virtue that they believe in. It could be a society that doesn't leave you alone with your thoughts, or you yourself and the cognitive dissonance inside you that downgrades a way of life to nothing more than a madman's quirk. In an interview, the director quips about what it would be like for Harishchandra to live in a society like today. Harishchandra being a person known for never lying once in his life. Can someone like that exist today? That is the question that Aankho Dekhi poses. It's easy to note Bauji never wanted such a heavy discourse on his way of life. Perhaps he never even wanted this as a fully blown way of life. One of the characters points this out very early in the film, as everyone is in the early stages of contemplations. He suggests the quirk to be a sort of midlife crisis for Bauji, a way to escape from the routines of daily life and spend the sunny afternoons looking up at trees and people going about their businesses. It's either that, or there was a genuine desire or a niche, so to say, to seek out experiences he's never lived before in the guise of seeking truth. At the end of the third act, Bauji's wife Pushpa taunts him about talking about flying, but having never experienced flight himself, Bauji, thinking no other way around it, wakes up the next morning, walks up to the hilltop, and jumps off the cliff. For the entire course of the film, us, the audience, along with his family and his cult, try to understand Bauji. In this moment, we are not thinking about the reality of the situation. We are not thinking about what is to happen to his family. All we know is that Bauji finally experiences something he has desired to experience, and that is flight. And we see him flying. In this moment, I understand Bauji, and I hope you understand Bauji too. This was the rewatch of Aankho Dekhi.